All right, welcome back, ladies and gents. Pocket Change Market Report for March 12, 2025. Thank you guys for tuning in. Everybody's favorite show, chronicling the values of some of the coins that maybe you have also come across out there in your hunts. Whether you're roll hunting, you're checking out your collection, or maybe you're cherry picking your local coin shop or show. There's a lot of different ways that you could encounter some of these coins here today, and we're going to talk about how the market is doing for everything that's popped up on here. We've had some old favorites come back from the dead, essentially. We have some new coins also to talk about. Errors, varieties, key dates, you name it. We talk about everything, and even paper money if that applies here. So we generally take a look at around the last 36 or 48 hours ish of market data. All right, really up to the minute, kind of forecasting here on a lot of the coins, which will help you guys determine what you should ask for. In addition, there's a couple different ways to sell on the platform, eBay that is, whether by a regular auction format, setting up a 5 or 7 day and just letting it ride till the very last minute, or you could do what they call a fixed price listing. That's where you throw something up with a buy it now price, and then just wait it out until that collector comes along that needs it. They'll scoop it up and add it to their cart and check out. So it's a couple different ways to do it there, but hopefully the information that you guys get off of these PCMRs, and we do these twice a week, so there's lots of up-to-minute market activity. It'll help you determine on which direction to go towards when you're selling them. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to get started here momentarily. Quick little notification, we do sell on the platform Whatnot. So in addition to selling on eBay, I sell on this platform. I'm using all of the available different things out there to really get the upper hand on the e-commerce bid. If you're going to be relevant in today's e-commerce world where you can sell your coins, all of your collectors everywhere, use all of it. Whatnot is one of the fastest growing, if not the largest live social media auction site today. Come join. I have my QR code right on the page here. Scan that in, and I will give you $15 off your first item. It could be easier, and it's automatically applied upon your first purchase. Also let you know, we do shows every Friday. If you're looking to, possibly pick up that next collectible coin, we do phenomenal US type shows every Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will be on this Friday with some more bangers, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys can make it on, because we also do silver giveaways every single stream. It's going to be awesome. Plus, we also have a few more of the 2025 US Proof sets that we'll be giving away as well. Lots of value there. Those things are kind of like the hottest thing going right now. So, stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. We have quite a few to talk about. A lot of old favorites and a lot of updated market activities on some of your coins here. 1972 Lincoln Memorial Set. If you guys are not looking for any of these doubled dies, there's really 9 or 10 of them to be able to look out for, and they're all FS listed numbers, which means they're in the Cherry Picker's Guide. All very important, very relevant, and very, very desirable. The FS 108 right here is one of them. But if you're not looking for these, then you are in it for the wrong reasons. Certainly do keep an eye out for a lot of these. 1972 is kind of like one of the big chaser dates. Every time you come across one of them, you should be kind of excited inside of yourself with the prospect of finding one of these rarities. So the FS108 is one of the stronger double to dies within the date. If you look here at a couple of these close-ups from the listing, the doubling, pretty easy to see. On the date, on Liberty, on the motto, In God We Trust, are 3 of the strongest points on the coin. to look for, and these all they all hit the mark splendidly. So this particular example ended up selling for $113.90. And, that is kind of par for the course, since it's the FS108, it is farther along off the top of the list there. But you can see how strong the doubling is here. This one's pretty hard to miss. Next one that we have here, 1964D Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one is struck out of collar, off center by about 70%. It's a grand old coin here. Very nice minty, fresh red example. And it exhibits a full readable date and mint mark, which is quite important to a lot of the collectors of these. And you're going to run into collectors that want one of every date or one of every date and mint mark. There are a few folks out there, more than a few, because the saleability of these coins is off the charts right now, just based off of this kind of way of collecting into them. So this particular one ended up selling for $45. Nice little chunk of cash. A 64D is kind of like mid-pack. It's not the rarest. It's not the most common. But if you were looking for this date and you wanted a decent one, expect to pay the piper. They're all very desirable. And especially the nicer they look, the more that they will command. So admittedly, we talk about coins that are not graded. That's kind of like one of the prerequisites. However, let this be a cautionary tale. This 1964D Washington quarter is quite a peach of a mint error. When you look at the obverse there, especially just to the right of Liberty, you're going to see all of this flaky stuff come off of there. This is a retained lamination. By definition, there are impurities within the alloy mix that's causing this. And here's the problem. Within this listing, the seller did not specify that this was graded. It was actually graded by Annex. And if that were the case, you always want to put the grading into your listing title. So if it's graded by Annex with a numerical grade, you'll put in Annex Mid-State 63 as an example. Just to let everyone know that they are indeed buying a graded coin. Believe it or not, it makes all the difference in the world. Some would say, even myself included, that grading is not a necessity with most varieties and errors. They speak for themselves, they sell for themselves. But if they're already graded, you might as well use that to your advantage. It's going to help you earn a little bit more money when you go to sell them. So, that's what we have here. The coin did sell for $54. Not saying that it could have achieved more, but, just in case, add that into your listing title. You never know. You could probably squeeze maybe another $20 out of this one, which, in a way, will pay for the grading submission fees. So always look at it at that perspective. The next one that we have here is nothing like the coin that we saw a few moments ago. 1968D Lincoln Memorial Cent. I love this one. Double struck is what we're looking at here. So the coin was struck as normal the first time, didn't properly eject out of the striking chamber upon completion of the original strike. So it stayed in there. It looks like there was some sort of malfunction with the collar. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to receive the secondary strike, which is and appears to be about 65 to 70% off center right there. Double struck coins are worth way more money than a traditional off-center strike because the coins were struck twice. That's kind of what makes them very unique, very visually stunning as well. This particular one has all sorts of mint red in all the protected areas on the reverse. It's a nice darker cherry red, which I really do love about it. I wasn't at all surprised at the sale price, which was $150 on this one, proving yet again that this particular mint error has a lot of staying power in today's hobby, and the investability will continue to be strong for years to come. The next one that we have here, a 2000D. You can't really say that I've talked about the Denver first-year Sacagawea dollars. There's just not a whole lot of fanfare with the Denver coins. We've said it once, we'll say it again. Denver, by far, produces some of the highest quality coins, but they will They will skip out the occasional little mint error here and there. That's what we have here on this one. Now, the pictures aren't, completely awesome. I will admit. I don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe it's not completely in focus. The lighting could be a little bit off as well. There's a lot of things attributing to the photographic proof that we have here on this coin. However, the secondary picture kind of tells what we need to see on this one. You can see that little anomaly there above the date. This one is actually a strike through. So there was probably a little hardened glob of grease with some debris right on the die face in that general area. So when it strikes the other coins, it's going to leave some sort of anomaly onto the finished product like you see here on this one. So I was more than shocked to see this on a Denver coin. I would peg it to show up on a Philadelphia minted coin because they're, quality control isn't their strong suit. Let's be honest. So this one here sold for $28. So if you did come across something like this, you got it back from change, after buying a soda pop from a vending machine, or if you get it back in change, that's one to keep because, you can easily turn around and sell it for nearly 30 times face value. That's a winner all day long. Pretty simple one here, 1958 Lincoln wheat cent with a shallow curved clip. All right, pretty easy. One of the lower end errors to look out for, if you're a penny roll hunter and you buy those boxes pretty regularly, you might come across these. And I know I have. I have droves of these. So this one sold for $9.98. Not bad. That's nearly 1,000 times face value. I would sell every single one of these single clips like this all day long. That's just good money right there. And one that you're going to see repeated a few times in this video are laminations. And the big reason why, the market all of a sudden making moves. And this has been a general consensus over the course of the last 3 to 4 months, where we've seen laminations all of a sudden become a relevant mint error to collectors. Somewhere, somehow, there was a shift in the overall sentiment of such coins, because 5-6 years ago, you couldn't even give away these things for a bag of peanuts. And then now here we are talking about laminations as if they're the second coming of, some strange worldly event. So the 1944 Lincoln wheat cent you see here is not kind of like an in-your-face high-end coin, but you can see the lamination and the delamination areas on the reverse. Laminations aren't the prettiest looking mint errors. I can't even talk today. Sorry about that. But you can make the argument that they can be some of the more dramatic ones depending on size. So to give you an idea, a coin that, again, 5-6 years ago, you can achieve any sort of real value for, this one sold for $20. $20. And this isn't the only one. We have a few to talk about, and a whole lot more that ended up selling within the last day and a half. So make sure you keep an eye out for these. Do not toss them back. It doesn't matter how ugly they look. Not the best pictures, but we could ascertain that this is a 2007 Idaho State Quarter. And this one has something called a reverse die break, or a CUD for its nickname, which is exactly like it sounds. A piece of the die had broken and fallen off just through general wear and tear. So when there's an empty cavity on the die and the coins are struck, all the metal flow will gravitate to the area of least resistance. And it's going to be in that empty area of the die where it's going to fill in with some of that extra metal flow. So on the finished product, you'll have a raised kind of metallic area that is going to start from the rim and then go into the design of the coin. That is a CUD. There are die chips and things like that happen in the middle of the coin. This particular one sold for $47.50 with 4 bids. I generally don't see them selling for that much. Idaho, I guess, is one of the more tougher states for the reverse CUDs. Usually we see them on South Dakota, West Virginia, and a few other states like that. Those are the more commonly encountered states for CUD die breaks. Good to see this one at a very, very healthy sales price. All right, our boy, our high-end brother from another mother, Coins and Cards, again, with another huge addition into this week's PCMR. It's 1972 Lincoln Memorial Cent FS101 doubled die obverse. This is the big dog of the show, the biggest double die, the most dramatic of the 9 or 10 of them that exist for this particular date. This is what we gun to find. And you always hear about someone finding one of these right out of a bankroll. Probably pretty close to being weekly now, because there's a lot of postings and notifications on forum chat pages, social media, and things of that nature. And you always see new coins pop up on the secondary market for sale. So this one right here, a really beautiful, outstanding piece. You can see the doubling on the date, Liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust." And for all that, this one ended up selling for $480, a very strong number, given that it's not graded and it's probably like a red-brown, lower mid-state coin. And that's with 36 bids. So Coins and Cards, you guys need to know, they generally sell a lot of their coins via auction. All right, so they have full command and full control, and they have the full kind of like they have no doubt that these things are going to sell. All right, so they feel very comfortable with starting all of these coins, doing 5 or 7 day auctions and just letting it ride, and the results are nothing short than astonishing. Another lamination here. Like I said, we'll be seeing a few of these here in this week's videos because the numbers continue to pour in strong fashion. 1966 this time. Lamination on the obverse, as you can see. Nice little folded kind of corner tip areas. Very much retained. And, it's a nice AU brown example. Nothing that's going to pop out at you grade-wise. So this one sold for $44.75. Quite a strong number again for these coins. I mean, again, you look back a number of years and it's like, $40 for a lamination seems very impossible. And a lot of my, friends that are into business and in the hobby will tell you the same thing. Folks, Sean, 10 years ago, you couldn't even give these things away. They just had no fanfare at the time. Now we're living in different times where a lot of the different types of mid-airs and varieties are beginning to be met with a lot more favoritism, a lot more of a favorable kind of stance on them. Favoritism, not the right word, by the way. So just want to let you guys know, if you find these, do not toss these away. You're tossing away money every time you do. Kind of a neat one here, especially when you see it on like both sides of one side of the coin. And what I mean by that is a rolled tapered planchet usually would show up toward like one edge. This one is on two edges because you have a nice strong defined rim at the top and bottom. It's not a die adjustment strike because you do have full rims even on the front. But yeah, it's just, this was a very uneven planchet to begin with, and it was struck as such. So pretty cool one. Now, it did weigh out 2.8 grams, okay, just to let you know. So it's underweight by 0.3 grams as a standard copper planchet for Lincoln Cent production pre-1982, weighs in at 3.1 grams. So this one definitely a little bit on the light side. But just something very interesting to see. Nothing that really comes out that often, especially to this magnitude. $35.51 sale price, 9 bids this time around. A lot of activity. People knew exactly what this was, and it's really cool to see some of the more unique side of some of these mid-airs. Next one that we have here, one of my favorites, although the seller did specify that this one is an AU kind of details coin. The obverse of the coin, the front, looks like it's been cleaned. You can see hairlines all throughout. But this is the 1916 Philly Buffalo Nickel with the 2-feather variety. All right, so the feather that normally sits right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer, was overpolished at one point by Mint employees, so that's why it's completely gone. So this particular example, nice sale here, and these are very, very, very hot in grades from AU and up because there's just not a whole lot of them out there in that grade level. This one sold for $139.89. So yeah, quite the respectable amount of money, and that's even with the possibility that this thing had been cleaned at one point. 1944, another 1944 Lincoln wheat set. Boy, really cool. This time a detached lamination. There's no lamination there, but you could tell it was like a pull tab. It was kind of ripped from the back of the coin. This one sold for $27.50. I mean, come on, ladies and gents, with all of the coverage that I am showing you guys on lamination errors, and you're seeing these prices kind of like dart up. I mean, is there any more concrete evidence that you need to suggest that the market has turned a corner on these? If you're not bought into it, I don't know what's going to take. Because all the ones I've seen, and I'm not skipping over the best ones, you know, I'm covering as many of them as I can to help illustrate the point to you. So, pretty good sale on this one. Again, $27.50. Seems like a lot of money for what you're getting, but that's kind of the sign of the times on here. Another one here, 1943 P silver war nickel. So the 42 to 45 war nickel compositions with the silver and the manganese, these things had serious annealing issues to the point where laminations were pretty much a foregone conclusion. This is something I heard from a few experts, that roughly about 10 to 15% of the entire run of silver war nickels was in some way suffering from lamination or improper alloy mixes and things like that. I mean, this is a rather extreme case. The coin had been stripped away of multiple layers of coin from the reverse, but take a look at the overall condition. Nobody really cared. This thing was circulated. It's changed hands many thousands of times. It's probably been dropped on the ground on certain occasions. So obviously no love lost here. But when you could take all that, you find the coin. It's not the prettiest one ever. It ended up selling for $17.50. So again, another strong showing for a lamination error that, we tend to forget that these things were just junk at one point in the recent past. Cool one here, man. This is an awesome one. 1934 D piece dollar. A nice little date here on this one. There's a lot of great varieties to find within the piece dollar series. This is a top one right here, top 50, I believe. Doubled die obverse, and that's all in the crown right there. You can see some of the doubling of the crown points, especially toward the back there, right under the R. I mean, that's cool as heck. One of my favorite varieties. I have a few of these myself that I've cherry picked out of like dealer stock, and it shows this one here in this condition, considering that it looks like it's been cleaned, which most of them have been, sold for $74.24. And this is a date that pops up in enough regularity. I'm not going to say for the variety, but the date overall seems like a tougher date, and it kind of is. But you can find these in melt scrap bins on occasion, So definitely pull them out, because you could add this one into an album, and it could be a really great starter to something very, very extraordinary. Speaking of improper alloy mixes, on a Lincoln cent, we call them Witties. All right, the older they are, the better they are. If they're on both sides, that's even a big bonus yet. 1940 Lincoln wheat cent this time around, with the wood graining all throughout. It's got a different kind of wood graining pattern on the front, and on the reverse, it's a little bit different. Man, that's cool. I love things like this, and much like laminations, because these kind of live on the same plane as laminations with the impurity, talk and all that stuff. These were just kind of born out of like nowhere, because nobody really cared about them. You know, a lot of people are very down on these, and even to this day, if you had a key date with a wood grainer on there, they're going to tell you no thanks. You know, because it can still be a deal breaker. But for the elite collectors out there that want to do something and collect into something that is going to provide a whole bunch of challenge, it's going to be collecting by date every single date of Lincoln Cent with a wood green pattern on there, you know, and that's kind of like one of the hot collecting directions so far here in the recent last couple years. You know, that's where these things have really taken off. This one sold for $17.25. Again, 5 years ago, they didn't sell for $17. They were, if you're lucky, $2 or $3 coin just recently. And now that certain sectors of the hobby has grown very expensive, this is like one of those easy ways to affordably get into it, is by doing wood grainers and doing it by date. Next one that we have here, 2021 Lincoln Shield Cent with the K3 to K7 die break. We all know this one. A nice one here, although albeit it's circulated quite a fair bit on this. But yeah, these are neat. Yeah, they've always been neat. This one sold for $129.51. So good little price on that one. One to always be on the lookout for and change. These originally dropped in the Tidewater kind of area of Virginia. All right, so make sure you look out for these. You know, I would say if you were anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic states, these have probably circulated around quite a bit, and you can find them in just about anywhere. Oh yes, yeah, the one coin that if you were able to find one, period, it doesn't matter what the condition is, they are incredibly desirable, and the money is just, continues to be a very, very strong topic of conversation. Only because these things do not go to zero, you know. Very seldom do you see these sell for anything south of like $35-$40, especially in the lowest conditions. 1939, doubled Monticello, doubled die reverse FS801. That's what we're talking about, baby. And it's on the Philadelphia coin. A lot of these were produced. A lot of these are still able to be found in nickel rolls. Modern nickel rolls, by the way. I found a few myself. But you could also cherry pick them at coin shops. It's a recognized Red Book price guide variety, the Whitman Red Book price guide. You're going to find one of these in there as one of the big chasers. And there you go. So the doubling on Monticello and 5 cents, that's your biggest areas to point out. So this one sold for $59.99. It always seems to be every time I see one of these sell on eBay, the market just kind of like slowly inches upward. And that's good to see. People really do appreciate this, and it's one of the gnarliest doubled dies you will ever come across. Our one lone piece of paper money, $2 bill, 1976 $2 bill with a misaligned overprint. So when you look at the green district seal, and considering that it's slightly shifted up, it's usually centered right on that word 2 there. I mean, there was obviously a little bit of a shift of the sheet where the overprint was applied a little bit off kilter. And I'm telling you, you could find these with very little searching. It's one of the more, I guess, common error types to locate out there. And they're all neat. You know, people collect these, and you know that they're very dedicated, and they have a certain amount of money that they pay for certain kind of like alignment shifts. So this particular one here is in great shape, by the way. Probably a nice, good, solid VF note that did sell for $39.50. 20 times face value. 20 times face value. And another one to keep an eye out on. I remember these things, man, when they were first found, and through the first like 60 days, it was like every single one of them were selling for like $80 to $100. It was like routine. It was regular. 2023p Edith Kanakaole, American Women, quarter. And this one has the very strong clash die on Washington's ear and hair. You can see Edith's name clashed right in there. Again, very cool. And hard to believe that these things sold for a lot of money. And there were people, I know a couple people that had found caches of these when they first were made available to the public in bankrolls. They were hunting these things. And, you find one box with one, you'll probably end up finding about 100 of them. That's how frequent that these things popped up, and they all travel well together. So here we are, a couple years later. Where did this thing settle at? Surprisingly, $79.50 on this one. But I've seen these sell for as low as $20-$30. This one was a buy it now hit, so that I guess someone that really wanted one didn't want to go through the rigmarole of bidding on it against other people. So yeah, they just scooped it up as a buy it now for this insane amount of money 2 years later. So here's another one. So we saw that rim clip Lincoln sent earlier. Now on the opposite side, or this opposite extreme here, we have an Eisenhower dollar with a clip. The bigger they are, the harder they fall into your pocket. With more cash. You're going to be lining your wallets with more cash with this one. And it's just a single clip too. But it sold for $40. Compared to that one that we saw earlier that only managed, $10? So, with each jump up in denomination, the bigger the coin is, the more that they're going to command. And you can't get any bigger than the Eisenhower dollar. And when you can find one on an Eisenhower dollar, shoot, that's that's the end of it all, because there's going to be people that are going to be fixated on owning any sort of mid-error on these big old honking discs of dollar bills. 1995 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is the infamous FS101 doubled die obverse, and what a gorgeous coin this one is. A nice solid, probably mid-state 65 caliber grade. This one needs no introduction like a few others. It's got that strong doubling on the motto and liberty. And, they're still being found out there and changed today in all different conditions and grades. People are even finding gem reds of these still out in circulation. So this one here sold for $64.24. Still worth money. Still worth holding on to and reselling. If you could take good close-up photos of the parts that matter, then people are going to be bought in. There's not a whole lot to sell here. It's just a really wholesome, very, very well-known variety. 1951 Dean Lincoln Wheat Cent. Nice, huge broad strike. This thing is centered, and whew, man, I was crazy not to see this earlier. Otherwise, I would have bought it straight up. Yeah, it's huge. It's probably about the size of a quarter. That's how big it is. It's a leapfrog to nickel any day of the week. So, much like off-center strikes, these are collected by date, as a little bit more of a challenge. This one sold for $153.51. So, and that's all because of how centered it is. So there are uncentered broad strikes, which are a little bit more undesirable, but the centered ones are where it's at. Another double strike, 1972D Roosevelt dime. Okay, what makes this one really special is it's got two readable dates. It doesn't have two mid marks because the secondary strike doesn't show that all that well. And the seller did not put reverse images for whatever reason on their listing. But Roosevelt dimes, as you guys would guess, are getting a little bit more attention out in the news world today. Probably because that they are going to redesign this coin for 2026. So people are amped, they're pumped to pick up a few just really, really nice Roosevelt dimes, because there's no certainty beyond next year of what they're going to do with this little 10-cent coin. 50% of people seem to think it's going to get redesigned, and then the other half seem to think it's going to go back to the old Roosevelt dime, John Sinek design that you see here right now. This one, by the way, not a small price coin. $255.75, 5 bids. So yeah, I mean, if that is improved positive in the overall kind of collectability of Roosevelt dimes today, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot I can't show you. This is a true testament to the movement of the market. And the last piece for this edition of the PCMR, how about your Cheerios Lincoln Cent? These were carded and inserted into specially marked boxes of Cheerios cereal. This one is a packaging error. It's got 2 Lincoln Cents on the same card. And that was kind of like what the seller was going for, was the packaging error on this one. And because of that, it ended up selling for $56 with 14 bids. And I'll let you guys know, the common price on these are right around $25 per singular coin on the card. So it's like you're buying 2 for 1 here. But a little bit of a bonus because there's a second Lincoln Cent on the same card. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Have never seen one of those before. Thought I would show you as the last final piece of the day. Information provided is for educational use only, not financial advice. And please collect and or grade your coins responsibly. I am done, folks. I am going to go out there because I'm seeing all sorts of nasty stuff. I want to find some of these for myself. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hit that bell for instant notification. So I will see you guys next time. Have a good one and best of luck in your hunts.